Okay, lesson 37. So it says the chemical formula for water is this. Ebony and Marcos have 414 grams of water. What is the weight of the oxygen? So this is what you're going to do. Is you're going to write down the elements that they give you. H and O. If you don't know that's hydrogen and oxygen, it doesn't even matter. But the 2 came after the H. That means there's 2 of those. And there's not a number after the O. So that means there's 1 of those. Then you look at the weight of each one of them and you multiply it by the weight. So you can see that you really don't have to know all this stuff. Just follow those directions. Then we know that if we add these 2 together, then it gives us H2O. And that weight would be 18. Okay? It says they have 414 grams of water. And that is water. They tell you that even if you don't know it. So 414 goes here. What is the weight of the oxygen? Goes on the oxygen line. So you're going to do 16 is to 18 as X is to 414. You're going to cross multiply. You'll have 16 times 414 equals 18 times X. Then you'll divide both sides by 18. Okay, and when you do this math right here, you'll get 368 grams. How do I know the grams? Because they told me right there. Make sure you get a unit there, okay? And that's number 1. Okay, let's look at number 2. It says Jesse and Terry discovered the chemical formula for potassium chlorate is KClO3. This means that each potassium chlorate molecule contains 1 potassium atom, 1 chlorine atom, and 3 oxygen atoms. If they have 1,952 grams of potassium chlorate, how much does the potassium weigh? So number 2, we're going to start again with the formula that gives you right here. Okay, we have K, Cl, and O. Again, if you don't know that's potassium stuff, and they just told you that, but even if you didn't know, then you just look at it. When there's not a number by them, it means a 1, which is what they explained right here. So we have a 1 here, a 1 here, and a 3 here. Look at the end of the problem. K says it's 39. Cl says it's 35. O says it's 16. Okay? Now you're going to multiply that out. And then you're going to add them up. Because I know that when I add all this up, what I end up with is the formula they gave me. Okay? Now, it says they have 1,952 grams of potassium chlorate. That's the compound. Okay? So that's 1,952 goes right here. How much potassium, that's up here, how much does the potassium weigh? So then we're going to say 39 is to 122 as X is to 1952. Cross multiply, we get 39 times 1952 equals 122 times X. To solve for X, we're going to divide by 122. Now why do I do that all in one step like that? Well, because then I only have to use my calculator one time. I do 39 times 1952 and divide it by 122. And I get 624 grams. So X is 624. Again, I look and they're talking in grams. Get the unit out of the problem. Okay? Okay. Number 3 says the formula for ammonium chloride is NH4Cl. Says this means that in 1 molecule of ammonium chloride, there is 1 atom of nitrogen, 4 atoms of hydrogen, and 1 atom of chlorine. How many grams of chlorine are there in 795 grams of ammonium chloride? So again, NHCl. 1 of these, 4 of these, 1 of these. Go to the end. Times 14. Times 1 times 35. Multiply these out. Add them up. 53. If I add this up, I get the compound they give me. It says that they have 795 grams of ammonium chloride. That's the whole compound. And how many grams of chlorine do you have? So you're going to do 35 is to 53, as X is a 795. Cross multiply. Divide both sides by 53. Take your calculator. Do 35, so you can see it, times 795 divided by 53. And so you get 525. Look at the unit, grams, right? That's your answer, multiple choices right there, okay? Okay, let's look at the last problem. It says that the parallelogram ABCD, or that ABCD is a parallelogram, I should have said. Find X and Y. So we know that the diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. You need to write that down. Diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. Okay? If they bisect each other, it means it cuts them in half, right? Or that one portion is equal to the other portion. So that means that 16y is equal to 128. And that means that 21x minus 8 is equal to 160. Okay, so we're going to divide both sides by 16, and we get that y is 8. Take our 8 to the other side and divide by 21. And we get that x is 8. Now, don't expect them to always be the same thing, okay? That doesn't always happen. Okay, let's see. Turn the page over. So on this one, it's a parallelogram. And we know that the opposite angles of a parallelogram are always congruent. So you're going to do 5y plus 18 equals 6x. And then you're going to do 4y equals what? Well, you can say the measurement of angle A. Okay? You could say that. And I'm looking for another piece of paper. Hold on a minute. Well, okay, let me just do this one. So we know the opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. So that's what I just told you right here, right? But you also know that consecutive angles are supplementary. So that means if I add these two together, I get 180. If I add these two together, I get 180, or any two consecutive. So if I add these two together, I get 180. Okay, well, I already know this one, that 6x equals 5y plus 18. If I take the 5y to the other side, it becomes negative. And now I have these two equations, right? So I can subtract them by multiplying this by negative 1. So that means that becomes negative 6x, those cancel. That becomes positive 5y, that becomes 9y. And that becomes negative 18, so that becomes 162. And you get that y is 18. Now once you get y, you're home free, okay? Because once you can put 18 in for y right here, that makes that, what, 72? So you know these are supplementary, so you can do 180 minus 72 equals 6x. Or, you know, you just take it and plug it back into one of these, in other words, right? So what did I do right here? Well, this equation, remember, this one came from up here, right? This is the same as that one. It's the same as that one, too. It's just the 5y is on the other side. So if you plug it in here and solve, you get that x is 18. Right? Let me know if you have questions on that. You should know that from geometry, but if you have questions, let me know.